What's up, guys? And welcome to this episode of Tuesday Night Talks. My name's Mikhail.
And I'm Hannah.
And I'd like to say happy birthday to one of my very big idols when I was growing up, Michael Jackson. We miss you, bro. I don't think you're watching this Facebook Live, but I'm just going to plug in this microphone real quick. Anyways, as we did last week, we wanted to add a little bit more structure to the Facebook Live show. So thank you to everybody who continues to check in. We really appreciate that. We obviously wanted to deliver you as much value as possible. If you've never checked in before, feel free to comment below with any social media marketing or digital marketing questions that you might have, and we'll definitely answer those. In addition to that, this week we're going to be testing out the live thing where we can invite some of you guys onto the show and chat with us. So this week we'll be covering 4 Instagram mistakes that brands are making, and Facebook is also cracking down on fake news, and we have Hannas Highlights as well, which covers
branding on social media and whether you need to be on all of them.
Awesome. So thank you for being here, obviously.
You're so welcome.
Jessica, it's nice to see you. Shiley, it's good to see you. Tinder, it's nice to see you. Everybody who continues to check in, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. Why don't we get started with the 4 Instagram mistakes that brands are making that they don't even really know about. Instagram is obviously a beast right now, and it's where a lot of business development is happening. In fact, I see a lot of traits. When were you on Twitter?
Oh, summer after my freshman year of college, so 2012.
2012,
was when
okay.
I got on.
So, and when you were on Twitter back then, were people actually communicating with each other, or was it a push thing? Okay.
It was very much of I'm going to tweet at my friend on this new social media platform.
Okay, cool.
But now it's purely news.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
a lot of
changed
news.
a lot.
Yeah, so Instagram, in my opinion, has, in a lot of ways, been kind of like the new Twitter, in my opinion, being an OG in the social media world. But there's a lot more conversations happening in comments with the introduction of stories. Obviously, they've made it a lot easier to message and direct message other people. And one of the biggest mistakes that people are making on Instagram right now is they're actually not using Instagram in the way that their target customer, their target audience is using it. With that being said, what that means is, like, you really have to think about, what does your audience want to see from Instagram? So if you're a health and wellness company, your audience might be interested in healthy recipes, yoga, things like that. Mm-hmm. So promoting content and developing content around those subjects will actually really help you gain more traction on social media. Do you want to cover the visual strategy?
Yes, I love this part of it. So Instagram, obviously very visual medium. You want it to look a part of your brand. And this means more than just sharing on brand images. You want to really create kind of this color story going throughout. And so you'll see brands that are doing kind of like the 9 tile, where they split up one image into 9 tiles. Then there's also just kind of the same color scheme. And so say August is blues. And so it'll be a little different shades of blue kind of in each image, and that'll craft that story. And when you scroll through their Instagram's feed, it'll, like, through their profile. When you're seeing the whole profile, right? Yeah, and it'll look, it kind of might not, see, the beauty of it is that you don't notice it when it's just in your feed, but when you go to their profile, and it just looks like kind of flowing from one to the next, and it's all very cohesive, yet still changing. Yeah. I think there's a lot of, I think it's one of my favorite things to see is when they do it right. And you've
actually been implementing this in your own Instagram strategy, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the things that you're doing?
So kind of unintentionally, I started copying Mikhail. I promise it wasn't on purpose.
And I copied Kayla, and I copied, it doesn't matter. It's fine.
Nothing is original on the internet. Sure. So every 2 images, I share a quote, and I have all of the quotes with the same color and just overall look. And so that's really helped me both stick to a schedule, because for a while I'd be sharing like 2 quotes and then 4 images and stuff like that. So it keeps it more cohesive. And then I also try to have the same bright, high contrast colors, but I'm a moody person, so I tend to share darker photos.
As often as I wear white V-necks, Hannah wears black ones. Let's just put it that way.
It's just what we do.
So again, one of the bigger mistakes that brands are making in their Instagram strategy, whether you're a personal brand or a big business or even a small business, is not having a visual strategy for your Instagram. So be intentional about what you're actually posting. You guys checking in, William, Malachi, Dylan, Coop, it's so good for you to check in. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Every Tuesday night we do this Facebook Live to kind of at least spin some content for you guys and deliver a little value. Another mistake that some companies are using or companies are making on Instagram is they're not gaining emoji traffic. So, as you all know, hashtag culture is a big deal on Instagram. Some of us use like 30 hashtags, which is the max that you can use on Instagram to be discovered as much as possible. But did you know that emojis are actually categorized in hashtags as well?
I did know that.
Great. Well, there goes that segment. We're done. Just kidding. But you know what, too, is what a lot of people aren't really, what I don't see too much of is, and to kind of elaborate on this, not only are you missing out on traffic when with emojis as a hashtag, so hashtag like basketball emoji, for example, but also tagging a location on your Instagram stories and using hashtags in your Instagram stories as well. Those are also getting categorized, right? So what's the beauty of that is that it's like it's giving people a new way to discover you. Instagram stories is getting so much traction and so many views, and if you're not using it on a regular basis, you're really missing out on a lot of opportunities to be discovered and to grow. Which actually goes into our next point, where a lot of brands aren't using Instagram stories. How are you? You're getting a lot better at Instagram stories.
I am. Right? It's still kind of secondary for me, and I'm trying to figure out the best type of content to share on Instagram stories. I think about it way more than I think a lot of my friends on Instagram do, just so I don't tend to I don't know, that's really good. But I think it's really valuable for brands because that gives you such a good spot to offer behind the scenes without ruining the visual strategy of your main feed.
Right.
So if you're at an event, like one of our clients, they go to consumer events and they share kind of behind the scenes with that.
Sure.
And I think that's really valuable because a lot of followers enjoy seeing kind of what goes behind the curtain.
Right. Additionally, it's a really nice, love the Tuesdays. Just Dylan, thank you so much for the content, or for your comment rather. We really appreciate it, and for you checking in. Toby, it's very nice to see you. Thank you so much. Kelsey Springer asks, what do you think about niche hashtags, trying to grow your own specific hashtag and get it to gain traction? Worth the effort?
I think it kind of depends if it's an event. I think it's great. I follow some people on Instagram where every child of theirs has that hashtag. I think it's kind of cute to be able to look at how they've grown over time just by looking at that hashtag, but you need to be careful with it because, for example, I was working with a conference back in Nashville, and BCN 17 was actually something about Barcelona and a beach in Barcelona. So for that weekend, we overloaded it. But technically, that's been used before. And so you want to find a word or a phrase that is truly unique.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's cool to be able to see the past posts, but I don't know how much specific value there is unless it's behind a branding campaign.
Exactly. So to kind of piggyback off of that, for branding, I think it's really cool. So hashtag breakfast with Mick is something that I was actually doing for a little bit, and I'm still doing. Hashtag breakfast with Mick is a thing that I used for branding alone, not because I thought I was going to get a following, but really through branding, and additionally to see those pictures that were actually about the Eggs Benedict campaign, I guess, if you want to call it that, right?
It was definitely a campaign.
But if you're going to create your own hashtag, just keep in mind that you might not build a huge following off it, but it's really cool for branding. With that being said, if you want to get into Instagram or hashtag strategy, look for those hashtags that have 50,000. Like when you start typing in a hashtag, you'll see how many posts are there. 50,000 is good to get discovered. 100,000 different posts is good. Even maybe 500,000 is good. And then maybe one or two in the 1 million, 2 million, 3 million type of posts. And the reason I say that is because in the 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, you're going to get pushed down very, very quickly, right? So, your post might not be found there. But in the 50,000s, the 100,000s, you have a better chance of actually being discovered under those types of things. But Instagram's getting really intuitive with that. You type in hashtag Eggs Benedict, and then it'll have 10, 15 different variations of that where you can actually see where you have a better chance of getting discovered. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
All right, the next topic, Facebook is actually cracking down on fake news. This has been a huge topic with everything that's going on in the political landscape that I know nothing about. about what you said. Higher hashtags lose you in the shuffle. Very true, very true. Also, Kelsey, with those hashtags to get in the top results, you know, get as many people to interact with your posts as fast as possible. Put it up in your Instagram stories, get some comments, reply back to all your comments. The more comments and the more likes you have and the faster you have and the better chance you have in getting in the top posts, and you have a chance of going viral.
And also put them in the post, not the comments, because of the Instagram shadow ban.
Oh, that's right.
It's a couple months old, but it's still, you want to make sure that you're putting it.
Exactly.
So it's in the comments, you won't be found.
Yeah, so just so to clarify, when you are putting your hashtags into your posts, do them in the caption, not in the first comment.
Yes.
Right? Cool.
Definitely. Dan, that's a great point too, because it's like John Acuff does the same thing of where it's around a whole launch strategy. I think that's a great way to kind of correlate all of your readers.
Yes. The same thing that like Twitter was doing, really. That's where it all kind of came from. So next we have Facebook is cracking down on fake news. This has been a big deal, especially with everything going on in the political landscape right now. Did you know about this?
I did.
So Facebook is actually making an effort to make sure that fake news isn't getting spread as quickly as it used to. So one of the things that they're doing right now is not allowing pages that are reported for fake news to buy ads. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to crunch down their reach. So that's good. I don't know if I've ever gotten fake news. I don't really pay attention to that. Did you ever see any fake news?
I mean, I'm sure I have. It's, or at least very like one-sided, not necessarily fake. But I think that's kind of just what Facebook is you see people sharing things.
Sure.
I think it's really, I mean, it's what, 1% of your followers see your unboosted posts. So it's really going to crunch it down. And I think that's when Facebook first said that they're going to crunch down on fake news. I was like, okay, well, what's a valid way to do it? I think this could help.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
The good thing for me is I don't really interact with anything political, so the only things that are coming up on my feed are pizza.
Eggs Benny.
Pizza Eggs Benedict. By the way, if you'd like to check out Pizza Eggs Benedict, I'm going to do that next weekend. Just DM me below. So that's been coming up a lot, and Star Wars and Friends memes have been coming up. So that's really good news. I'm really excited to see that happening. For everybody just checking in, every Tuesday night, we do a Facebook Live to answer any social media marketing questions that you might have. If you do have them, please feel free to comment below, and we will definitely answer them live if we have time. And also later on in the segment, we're going to be testing out the invite function, where we're going to invite one of you guys onto the broadcast and have a little chat with you if it works this time. Now on to Hanna's Highlights.
My highlight this week. There is an Inc. article that I saw about how their headline was being active on all social media platforms won't grow your business faster, instead pick one. I think Mikhail and I are largely similar. I think we might also differ a little bit on how I've always been quality over quantity, and I think it is valuable to focus on.
So real quick.
One.
So the question at hand is, should we be on multiple platforms?
Yes. So in order to determine that and to use your resources effectively, you want to ask yourself, where and how does your ideal audience consume information? So this, and then number 2 goes with it, and what are the demographics? So are you trying to reach mostly millennials or baby boomers, or like where are they most active and what times are they most active? That will help you determine whether you choose Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or Pinterest, or whatever. And some of their other points are, do you have the time, talent, and or money to pursue the social media tactic with excellence?
No. Just kidding. No.
But
It's
this
tough.
is the big one, though,
Sure.
is because, like, for many of our clients, we say, well, I mean, we can, like, Twitter isn't necessarily as valuable for you in your specific niche. And so I think we want to put our resources, or really we want to use their resources effectively and be responsible with it. So therefore we pick Instagram and Facebook, and we choose how to spend it in that way.
Right. So what would your conclusion be if you were telling one of our viewers today, like, here's what you should focus on your personal brand, and they ask you, should I be on everything? What would you say?
I would say it depends on the unique situation, because I think there is value for being seen.
Sure.
And so, like, I'm on Twitter, I'm not as active, but I'm still on there because people will look, being in digital marketing. But I think it really is important to focus on partly what you're good at and partly where your audience is. Mostly where your audience is. You can learn how to be good at it. That can be evolving. It really isn't.
It's just really putting in the effort and the work to do that.
Yes.
And I agree in a lot of spots. Like for me, for example, again, the absolute failure that was my vlog.
I'm vlogging now, guys.
I'm vlogging now.
10 episodes later.
I don't.
It's fine.
Actually, I was looking back. I got 14 episodes in.
I'm so proud of you.
I did get 14 episodes in on the blog, but I started a YouTube channel because I thought I was going to vlog. I ended up not vlogging because I suck at it, to be quite honest with you. But I will say this. I think having a presence and understanding each platform is very important, right?
Yes.
And that's a lot of the reason why I have vlogs and videos up, is not necessarily to grow an audience there, but if somebody does check me out, then fine. You go on my Instagram or Twitter or something like that, then you might see a little bit more interaction and more engagement. So find out what you're good at. As Hannah said, find out where your audience is most important. Would you say that Instagram, no matter what, forever, as of right now, is kind of a staple?
Right I would say so, but I'm also someone that really enjoys Instagram, and it's my favorite these days. I think Facebook you kind of need in order to have a business page on Instagram and to be able to use it, since they're now both owned, but I would say Instagram. I mean, it also just depends on who you're targeting. Dan brings up a good point. He says he's very strong on Twitter. He has a great following on Twitter. I think 11,000 followers the next time I checked. He's also going to be on the podcast soon, which I'm very excited about. But, you know, he has a big niche in ed tech, I think. And again, that goes back to the tech space. I noticed that a lot of you guys in ed tech have a great following. Some of you guys are verified. You're really active. You do Twitter chats.
Twitter chats, all of that. Yeah. You know, Instagram lacking sometimes. That's what we're here for. Just kidding. No, but again, that's where all the conversations are happening, and that's how you're interacting with your audience and things like that. So, yeah, exactly what you said. So, we'd love to go into a live Q&A. I'm going to see if I can actually invite anybody on this to be involved in the show. Let's see. I can actually swipe left and see who I can get on here. Kelsey Springer, do you think you want... I'm going to see if Ian wants to be on to the show today. Invite him to the new... for those of you who may not know, we're trying to implement a call-in function to the show. And in this call-in function, we can actually invite somebody to be on the broadcast with us and kind of chat about what we're doing. So I'm kind of excited about that. If it doesn't work, we might just call it short today. But if you guys do have any more questions about social media marketing or digital marketing or anything like that, let us know. We have Ian Troy Alphon on our show. I promise
how you guys doing?
It's not nepotism. But, you know, I just kind of had a feeling. I had a feeling that Ian would want to be involved in what's going on. So, Ian, how you doing, my man? What have you been up to?
Not much, just working on my brand. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, not much. Just working on my brand and trying to figure out how I want to do things and what angle I want to come in. And basically, I have a couple of questions if you guys could help.
That would be excellent. What questions do you have?
Okay, so I'm only one man, and I'm a content creator first, and building traffic is my problem, right? Do you think the traffic will come if I create the right content, or do I have to settle doing half work on both ends? Do you see what I'm saying?
Consistency and content.
Yeah, so consistency is definitely key, and you got to continue doing that.
Which is hard. I'm not as consistent. It's really
but no, it's okay. But we got to, as anybody building a personal brand, Ian, I would really say this is like half of the work is just putting out the content. The other half is reaching out to the community that you want to be involved in. So for you, if it was graphic designers, let's just say for sake of conversation, I would search hashtag graphic designers or hashtag marketers and start interacting with them to pull them into your network instead of hoping that your content is actually going to reach them. Unfortunately, what's happening is there's an overload of content regardless of what platform anybody's on right now. And so we have to be proactive in networking with other people as opposed to hoping that somebody's going to discover us. Because really, like, not to shit on you or anybody else, but there's 100,000 different digital marketers out there. There's 100,000 different graphic designers, graffiti artists, and everything that you do. But what's going to separate you and why people are going to want to follow you is because of your personality as well. Okay. So make sure that you're reaching out, comment, like, things like that. And I think that's going to be a great thing. And then make sure that you're also commenting back on everybody else. And something like this, try to get featured on other people's pages as well. Ask, I would say, ask a marketing agency, ask somebody who's obviously trying to build their personal brand that has a big following. Like, it wouldn't be outlandish to reach out to a Gary Vee or an Instagram model or something like that and be like, and just send them one of your illustrations and hope that your illustration gets featured on their thing. You know what I mean? Kayla Fitz actually just checked in for a second here, and you know, sending her an illustration of herself and like seeing if she'll post it up on her stuff might not be a bad idea, but looking for those people might gain you more traction.
I think it's definitely putting yourself out there, which is really hard because as a creative, I don't like the potential for rejection or anything, but I think it's a valuable way to definitely to be seen.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your question, Ian. Let's link up soon.
Thanks, man. Later. Have a good time.
That was fun.
It worked.
It worked. It actually worked. Say, for everybody just checking in, we really appreciate it. We're actually going to sign off every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. We do a Facebook Live session asking any or answering any social media marketing and digital marketing questions. Would you like to leave the audience with anything?
Don't put me on the spot there.
I'm sorry. So
I'll have a deep thought next week.
For all of you guys, thank you so much for checking in every Tuesday night. If you have any more questions about digital social media marketing, DM us or leave a comment below and we'll be sure to get at it. Other than that, have a great rest of your Tuesday.